Good afternoon. Welcome to the Toronto Police Headquarters. I'm Police Constable Allison Douglas Cook. Today I'll be introducing Detective Henkel from our homicide unit, and he'll be updating the public and the media on homicide number 22. Detective?
Good afternoon. As Allison has mentioned, I'm here to provide you with an update on homicide 22 of 2019, the murder of Blain Gerrado. On Wednesday, May 1st, 2019, at approximately 1:16 p.m., Toronto Police Communications Centre received a 911 call for a shooting at 256 John Garland Boulevard, Unit 118 in the City of Toronto. Upon arrival, first responders located Blain Gerrado collapsed on the floor within his unit, unresponsive and without vital signs. Life-saving efforts were attempted at the scene. Unfortunately, Blain succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased. An extensive video canvass was conducted within the City of Toronto as well as the Greater Toronto Area. This morning, Canada-wide warrants for the first-degree murder have been issued for Michael Smith, 29 years, from the City of Brampton, Andre Dowse, 21 years, City of Mississauga, and Dane Sitladine, 27 years, also from the City of Mississauga. All three of these individuals are to be considered armed and dangerous. I'm appealing to Mr. Dowse, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Sitladine to contact a lawyer of your choice and make arrangements to turn yourself in at the nearest police station. If anyone knows the whereabouts of any of these three individuals, I encourage you to call your local police agency or the Toronto Police Homicide Squad at 416-808-7400. If you wish to remain anonymous, you can provide your information by contacting Crime Stoppers at 416-808-222-TIPS. As of this point forward, I would strongly caution anyone who may consider providing any form of assistance to these males in avoiding capture. You too may be subject to criminal charges. This investigation is continuing and far from over. We continue to appeal for witnesses. I encourage anyone who may know these males or their whereabouts or who may be aware of the circumstances surrounding Blain's murder to please contact us. I'll take questions.
What led police to these specific men?
Again, an extensive video canvass from the time of the murder, and as well as working with our police partners in the Greater Toronto Area, as well as witness interviews, led us to these warrants being issued.
Is there any information about a vehicle? Did they flee on foot, through a vehicle? Do we know that?
A vehicle was involved, and that's part of the investigation. I don't want to get too much into the investigation itself, again, not to jeopardize any future prosecution.
Why was the victim shot? Why did this happen?
I can't discuss the motives with respect to this murder.
Is there any suspicion it was gang-related?
I can't comment on that.
Is there any relationship between these men and the victim?
Again, that's part of our investigation. It's something I can't disclose.
Are the three accused, the three suspects, affiliated with gangs? Are they known to police?
I can't comment on that.
Where was the accused actually shot? That was one of the questions I remember from the crime scene on the day of. He was found inside the residence, but it wasn't clear at the time where exactly the shooting had occurred.
Again, the exact location, the victim was found within his unit. The exact location of where he was shot is part of our investigation and can't be disclosed.
Was it inside his own home, or was it somebody else's house or residence?
He was a resident of that community there at 256 John Garland.
But was he a resident of the unit he was found
That,
inside?
again, I can't comment on the specifics of the investigation.
In terms of the crime scene, I mean, I'm still wondering, I know you can't comment much about where he was actually shot, but were there bullet casings found, shell casings? Was there blood at the scene?
It was evidence of a shooting, and Mr. Grindley obviously had obvious signs of gunshot trauma to his body.
How many times had he been shot?
I can't comment on that either. I apologize.
Are you going to be releasing any of the video evidence or surveillance video that may help in the
Not at this point. There's no need to. The investigation obviously is still continuing. We're still continuing our video canvass. We're working with our outside agency partners, and we are still appealing for witnesses to come forward. We've had support from the community. We've had interviews conducted, which has led us to this, to the warrants being issued today.
You said a car was used. What, can you tell us what kind of car was used? Or
I can't go into the specifics of the vehicles.
Did any of your video show the car like arriving around the area and then departing with these three suspects?
Again, I can tell you that a vehicle was used, and we were able to, the investigation has led us outside of the GTA.
Wouldn't it help to release that video though? There's obviously, there's a manhunt for these gentlemen. It's Canada-wide now in terms of the warrant. So do you not think that would help to release?
Well, I don't think there's a need to release the video at this stage. If there is a need, as our investigation progresses, we'll definitely let you know.
Can you explain why you think the getaway, you said outside the GTA, can you explain how this has evolved into a beyond Toronto investigation?
Well, again, they're residents from Peel region, so we've been to Peel and we've been to the exterior interviewing people with respect to this murder.
Are the three suspects known to Peel Regional Police?
I can't comment on that.
It's, yeah.
So, yeah, just to reiterate, so you don't think there's a need to release the video? Can you just explain why at this point?
The video forms the evidence. So at this point, it's an investigative decision not to release the video. There's no need to. We've identified who we believe allegedly were involved in the murder, and that's where we are at now. If there's, as the investigation progresses, if there isn't such a need, then we will make that decision and release it. But at this point, there's none.
Grindley targeted by these three individuals, or by one or by two? Or
Again, the exact motive of it, I have to be cautious as to what I disclose in order to prevent or jeopardizing a future prosecution.
Was anyone else in residence at the time of Mr. Grindley's death?
Yes.
Were they hurt in any way, or
No.
have they been able to provide at least a little bit of witness information?
They have been, yes. Again, we've had support from the community in that area, and we have conducted extensive interviews in that community.
I remember being up at the scene on the day that Mr. Grindley died, and there was a lot of resentment, a lot of hostility from the folks in the neighborhood. They're fed up with the crime-ridden area. Is there anything you can say to them to give them any comfort or confidence?
Again, the division, 23 divisions, working extensively in that community. And again, all the support that we've received has led us to where we are today.
There was this may not be relevant, there was a daycare in the same property, in the same row of buildings. Was the daycare involved in any way in this? Were they affected in any way by the shooting?
Again, that's news to me. I haven't been made aware of any issues surrounding the daycare. That hasn't definitely not come into play in our investigation. Thank you.
Thanks.
This concludes today's news conference. Thank you.